Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we bring you the latest news and updates from around the world. We have a packed show for you, with stories that will inform, educate, and maybe even surprise you. To start us off, let's take a look at a significant event happening in the world of religion and diplomacy. Pope Leo XIV has embarked on his first foreign trip as pontiff, visiting Turkey to mark the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea. This historic gathering brought together bishops from around the Roman Empire and played a crucial role in shaping Christianity. The Pope's visit is seen as an opportunity to reinforce relations between the Catholic Church and the Muslim community, as well as to promote unity and harmony among people of different faiths. During his trip, he will meet with Orthodox Christian leaders and representatives of Turkey's majority Muslim population, including a visit to the Blue Mosque in Istanbul. In a speech in Ankara, the Pope emphasized the importance of valuing women's contributions to society and expressed support for initiatives that promote their participation in professional and cultural life. This comes as women's rights activists in Turkey continue to denounce the government's withdrawal from the Istanbul Convention, a treaty aimed at protecting women from violence. The Pope's visit has been closely watched, with many seeing it as a significant moment in Christian-Muslim relations. However, for some Turks the visit is not a major news event, as they focus on more pressing concerns such as the country's economic crisis. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. The Pope's trip to Turkey and later to Lebanon is seen as an important step in promoting interfaith dialogue and understanding, and we'll be keeping a close eye on developments. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're diving into a complex and multifaceted story unfolding in Venezuela, where recent U.S. military actions have sparked increased surveillance and security measures by the Venezuelan government, particularly in the northeastern region of Sucre. Reports from various sources indicate that following the announcement of joint military exercises between the United States and Trinidad and Tobago, there has been a noticeable escalation in patrols and checkpoints in areas like Guiria and Carupano. These patrols involve not only uniformed officials from agencies such as CIBIAN, the Armed Forces, and National Police, but also civilians from ruling party-allied motorcycle groups known as colectivos. Locals describe an atmosphere of heightened tension and secrecy, with many fearful of reprisals for speaking out about the increased security presence or the impact it has on their daily lives. The economic situation in these regions, which heavily relies on informal trade and maritime activities, is also showing signs of stagnation due to the reduced movement of goods and people. It's crucial to understand that the Venezuelan government views these measures as necessary for maintaining order and controlling criminal activity, including drug smuggling. However, human rights groups and international observers have expressed concerns over the methods employed by security forces, citing instances of systematic abuses and extrajudicial actions. As we explore this story, it's essential to consider the perspectives of all parties involved. The situation in Venezuela is deeply intertwined with geopolitical interests, economic factors, and the quest for regional stability. While some see the U.S. actions as a move towards democratization and combating illegal activities, others view it as an intervention that exacerbates tensions and supports regime change. The impact on ordinary Venezuelans caught in the midst of these developments cannot be overstated. With limited access to information, increased surveillance, and a struggling economy, many are left in a state of uncertainty about their future. As we continue to follow this evolving story, it's our commitment at Barbara's Bulletin to provide balanced reporting, considering all viewpoints and focusing on the human aspect of these geopolitical maneuvers. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I'd like to bring you a developing story from Europe, where tensions are rising over the use of frozen Russian assets to fund Ukraine's war efforts. The European Commission and several EU member states have proposed using immobilized Russian central bank assets to provide Kyiv with a 140 billion loan, but not everyone is on board. Belgium, which hosts international deposit organization Euroclear, has expressed concerns about potential financial reprisals from Moscow. According to Belgian Prime Minister Bart De Wever, the proposed reparations loan scheme is fundamentally wrong and could expose his country to significant risks. He's also pointed out that historically, immobilized assets have never been used during a war, but rather as part of post-war settlements. However, other EU leaders are urging Belgium to reconsider its stance. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has said that he's pressing the Belgian government to come to an agreement on using frozen Russian assets to fund Ukraine, and that he understands the concerns but believes the benefits outweigh the risks. He's also dismissed threats of reprisals from Moscow as a repeated ritual that won't sway the EU's decision. As the situation continues to unfold, it's clear that there are valid arguments on both sides. On one hand, using frozen Russian assets could provide much-needed funding for Ukraine's war efforts and help to apply pressure on Russia to end the conflict. On the other hand, there are legitimate concerns about the potential risks and unintended consequences of such a move. As always, we'll be keeping a close eye on this story and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and weigh the pros and cons before forming an opinion. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.